Virtual reality massive multiplayer online role-playing games are among the most exciting slices of entertainment that millions of people in the future will immerse themselves in. The mix of living a second life in a virtual world within a theme like sci-fi or fantasy, while simultaneously completing tasks, quests, and storylines in a world with other people is a mixture for an experience that is highly immersive. As it stands, there's a few VR MMORPGs currently being developed. But today, we're going to be conceptualizing what the top-of-the-line GOTC-type game would look like.
You are watching Disrupt.
So you jack into the metaverse and you're in your home. Most modern day, that is to say 2020 MMOs, have player housing, but it's instanced. Like you're in a separate place from the main world, not here. Each house in this universe, which we will now refer to as MetaQuest, is located inside the same world. And to keep your home, you have to pay rent, otherwise you'll be evicted. If there aren't any houses left in the world, well, you'll either have to go out in the wilderness and build your own or hire a contractor to build one for you. So say your friend has a house on this side of the world and you have a house on this side of the world, you'll have to walk to meet each other. Being a VR game, I think it's important that there's no loading screens or quick teleportation unless it makes sense in the context. Like say you're casting a teleportation spell. But for the most part, traveling should take energy because, well, you're actually expelling energy, say on a treadmill. Or if you're in full dive, it feels like you're expelling energy like when you're running in a dream, right? So the world that your house is located in feels like reality. It's generated using the Wolfram algorithm that we talked about in this video over here. Long story short, the entire digital universe is made up of tiny voxel-based atoms that operates on the same rules of quantum mechanics, creating a living, breathing meta-universe. Nothing is instanced, no loading screens. So this world has human players and AGI. These NPCs are region-based, and they've been fed learning algorithms that are based on storylines written by the developer demigods. So each AI has a memory of their life based on where they are living within the game world. Right now in the gaming industry, certain in-game AI use a system called the Monte Carlo search tree. It was originally used in Deep Blue, which in 1997 was the first computer program to defeat a human at chess. It works by starting at an initial state. In this simplified chart, the player attacks the city. Then the best course of action is thought of based on the information provided, like player strength, if the AI has other AIs to back him up, etc. Then subsequent outcomes are weighed, and outcomes of those outcomes. Then the best action is identified and the AI moves forward. Now in theory, this same system may be expanded for other situations, such as should I, as an AI, get an apartment in the main kingdom of Hyleria or go out in the country and build my own, with the possible actions being based on if my father was a city dweller or a country farmer, which may influence my decision. The backstory of the AI in this case is that he admired his father who built his own farm, so he's likely to choose starting a life in the country. If an entire world was populated with AI like this, making decisions, autonomous decisions that affect the world in real time, the longer the server is online, the more complex and alive the world could grow. When you talk to them, they aren't spitting out scripts or pre-written lines. Each conversation is unique. An early form of this can be seen back in the year 2020 with the Replica app. You can sort of create a unique conversation with the AI itself. So the AGI and MetaQuest are sort of like that, but they also have unique voices that have the same emotional influx of a human. Talking to these AGIs is usually how you get your quests. Some of these quests are shareable with other people in your party. Others are unique to you. But the important thing is that you are not the hero. You are simply an adventurer in this mega world. You have to make yourself become the hero by following the hero's path, if that's what you want, or maybe you want to become a villain. Point being, quests are found by exploring, interacting with the world. Maybe you come across some ancient ruins that are tucked away deep into the forest. and just maybe you fall through one of the floors and get attacked by skeletons that are actually pretty mad that you woke them from their deep slumber, and just maybe when you kill one of these skeletons you get a scroll that unlocks more to explore. Regardless of what you choose or how you choose to do it, the quests aren't on rails. This is another reality after all. There's no set rules. You have to interact with the world to figure out how to complete it. If your task is to gather, say, 30 pumpkins, maybe you just pay the farmer boy 3 shekels to do it for you while you do other quests. Now that's capitalism, baby. The community in any MMO is incredibly important. Some people like working up the social ladder and actually having a reputation within the server. So a lot of the common MMO mechanics that we're previously used to translate to VR very well. As example, parties and guilds. Parties to quest and level up together, and guilds to join a community. There's sea-based guilds, land-based guilds, but all of them have locations within the world that house members. Some of these are towns, others are just huge houses. But to start one, you have to have at least 2 people that are max level. From there, you can find a plot of land or attempt to take over someone else's, but once you find it, you have to plant your flag. And I mean, you actually have to plant your flag. You have to make a flag or buy one and plant it in the ground. So now that you've created or joined a guild, some of them are relatively peaceful. They keep to themselves. Others are more aggressive, always looking to expand. If you're in one of these guilds, you better be sure you're logged in for tomorrow's strategy meeting at 8:30 a.m. UTC, because the entire game runs on the official metaverse time of Universal Coordinated Time. Every few hours, depending on the amount of energy you are expelling, the brain-to-computer interface sends signals to your brain that simulate hunger. So you can either hunt in the wilderness or buy food at a stall, but it tastes and acts like actual food. Instead of clicking boxes and buttons to create items, you have to actually go through the motions, go through the process of weaving textiles, bending and shaping armor, hammering swords, and dipping it in water so you hear that satisfying. Crafting and cooking in such a simulation would be involved, basically a mirror of actuality. Combat here isn't tab target based. Long gone are the days of queuing up sequences on your keyboard, kicking back and watching Netflix on your second monitor. Many players here are in peak physical condition because they are grinding 10 hours a day in the dungeons. The DPS classes have to actually swing their arms and feet to attack. The healers and spellcasters use brain-to-computer interfaces to build mental fortitude. In the heat of the battle, they must remain calm and centered, like a sage, to think of the complex runes in order to cast efficiently.
You have certain thresholds that people typically are between when they do certain activities. So I spent a lot of time practicing how to get my alpha waves into a certain, like 7 to 12 hertz. In meditation, it's very good if you try to almost look at the spot right here, like in your forehead, near your eyebrows. So I tried doing that and I noticed that I experienced different brain signals. And I'll stop the car in 1, 2, 3, stop. This technology has such a big potential to do good, but also has a very, very large potential to do bad.
When you get hit in this game, when you get slashed, you actually get slashed. It feels like you're actually getting stabbed without the blood. While all of this is happening, the world is also a player. There's weather patterns and seasons. We're using haptic suits here, so the rain feels like actual rain. It weighs down on your armor, so it's harder to move when you're wet. Best to wait it out before traveling further. In the winter months, you've got to take into account how long you'll be out questing. One of the newer players got caught in the Eldron forest when the sun set last month. He didn't have any wood or flint on him to create fire. I don't have to tell you what happened to him the morning after. No one knows what happens in the afterlife. Dead men tell no tales. This is the wonderful world of MetaQuest, and it's currently technologically unfeasible, but maybe in the future. And it's fun to conceptualize what the future of entertainment may be, right? But at the end of the day, it's just another form of entertainment. Like, it's sort of the classic trope of the next shiny new thing. But one of the things I like to do in this channel is think about the upsides and the downsides to the increase in technological advancement that we find ourselves alive in during the 2000s. I think the downsides could be addiction to immersive worlds, but I think the flip side is that if approached correctly, the social interactions that would take place in such a game could mirror real life in such a way that it encourages group behavior. If the virtual world in this case is operating in much the same way that the physical world operates in terms of reading other people's faces and body language when they're fully tracked, it could be that in the next generation of gaming, we actually unlock the potential for more natural social behavior, like what would be in the VR game a benefit like dungeon diving and defeating monsters with 5 other people and getting resources and extra better gear could carry over to completing projects with other people in the workplace, or managing a guild in the virtual world could teach the same skills to manage a business in the real world.
G'day.
Hello.
Have you heard of Metaflix?
What?
Have you heard of Metaflix?
What did you just call me?
I was asking if you have heard of the new content platform from the creators of Disrupt, Metaflix.
No.
It has similar content like that of YouTube, but extended, ad-free, and certified fresh by multiple happy subscribers.
Okay. Goodbye.
For the price of $2 per month or a cup of coffee via PayPal or CC, one can gain instant access to TV-length original series.
Stop it.
A 3-day trial is available at https://metaflix.net.
Stop following me.
Sorry, it's just. I think you're a cool guy.
I do not know how to respond to that.
Yo, what's up, man? I'm coming from the if we open reality.exe video, and I couldn't stop thinking about like the game situation if we were to actually simulate a whole reality for game purposes. And what that brought to mind for me was, what moral obligations would people have if they were to, you know, simulate reality with other people living in it without restrictions, you know? What would that be like, and what types of, like, you know, moral restrictions would people have in this simulated reality?
That's an interesting question, and I think it would go back to sort of the idea of like online interactions that we have now, right? Like when you read a tweet or a message or a Facebook message that is negative, it has a certain effect on some individuals. I think we would see a similar thing in a fully simulated second reality, so to speak, where like if you had a negative interaction with someone, it would have a effect on their mental state in the real world, right? But then you could also flip that around to have like a positive interaction. So I think if we're talking about like morality, I think it comes there like in the same way one attempts to operate and go about life and bringing hopefully as much good as you can in life. I think it would be the same in a simulation, right? Because like if you could have a positive effect on someone, that would be morally better than having a negative effect on them, because even though it's just in a virtual interaction, I think it has the same consequences as a IRL interaction does. I don't know, that's just immediately where my mind goes to it. If you're listening to this, whether Owen or anyone else, and you have a certain thought on that, please leave a comment down below, and I'd love to read what your opinion on morality in the virtual world would be.
You gotta go. How you know? Feel what? Let me see that shit.